Clara and Michael were thrilled to have found their dream house. Nestled among towering oaks and surrounded by lush gardens, the Victorian-era home seemed perfect for starting their new life. However, upon settling in, they discovered a curious and unsettling detail: a locked room on the third floor with a door they couldn't open. Despite their best efforts, the room remained closed, its secrets hidden behind ornate, age-worn wood. It started subtly. The sound of footsteps, barely perceptible at first, emanated from the sealed room long after they'd gone to bed. A gentle, rhythmic tapping that grew louder and more insistent each night. Michael convinced himself it was the house settling, but Clara wasn't so sure. Her nights became restless, haunted by the echo of those steps, and an inexplicable chill that seemed to pervade their home. Days turned into weeks, each filled with an increasing sense of foreboding. The garden's vibrant flowers wilted inexplicably, shadows seemed deeper, and the once warm and inviting house took on a sinister air. Clara, drawn to the locked door as though it possessed a magnetic pull, spent hours staring at it, convinced that something lay beyond. They tried everything, numerous locksmiths, breaking the hinges, even modern tools, but the door remained impenetrable. One stormy night, as lightning cracked the sky and thunder roared, Michael noticed a faint glow seeping from beneath the door. Fueled by adrenaline and fear, he struck the door with a crowbar, finally splintering the wood. The door creaked open slowly, revealing a room shrouded in darkness except for an ancient, dust-covered mirror that seemed to pulsate with an eerie light. As they stepped inside, coldness enveloped them. The mirror began to shimmer, and before their eyes, a figure emerged, translucent and rage-filled. It was the spirit of a woman, cursed and trapped within the room for centuries. Her eyes glowed with malevolence as she raised her hands, unleashing a force that knocked them to the ground. Free at last, her voice, a whisper of the wind, echoed within the walls. Determined to protect themselves and their home, Clara and Michael raced out of the house, seeking help from local historians. They uncovered the dark history of the house, a place of sorrow, where dark rituals had once been performed to bind the spirit of a wronged woman. Realizing they had no choice but to confront the malevolent spirit, they sought out an expert in the paranormal. The film concludes as the couple, alongside the expert, returns to the house for a final confrontation. Armed with ancient rites and newfound courage, they face the vengeful spirit, intent on breaking the curse that had held her captive. In an intense showdown, they managed to banish the spirit, but the house, forever scarred by its dark past, remains a reminder of what lurks beyond the locked door. John, a curious college student, stumbled upon an ancient, dusty book while exploring an abandoned library on campus. The leather-bound volume, adorned with strange symbols, piqued his interest. Intrigued, he decided to take it home, unaware of the horrors it contained. As John started reading, he found the book filled with dark rituals and ancient curses. The language was archaic, yet oddly compelling. Drawn in, he spent hours poring over its sinister pages. The first curse he read described a shadowy figure that would follow the reader. At first, he dismissed it as mere superstition, a relic of a bygone era. But then, the manifestations began. He noticed flickering shadows in the corners of his vision, unsettling whispering in the dead of night. The air grew colder, an icy chill that seemed to follow him everywhere. His reflection in mirrors started to distort, showing glimpses of a dark, twisted figure lurking behind him. John's desperation grew. He tried to burn the book, but the flames mysteriously extinguished themselves. He threw it into a river, only for it to reappear on his desk, its pages open to another curse. This one described relentless nightmares, and sure enough, his sleep was plagued by terrifying dreams of being hunted by unseen forces. The malevolent presence grew stronger with each passing day. Electrical appliances malfunctioned, lights flickered and dimmed, and the once warm and inviting atmosphere of his apartment turned oppressive and foreboding. John's friends noticed his haggard appearance and erratic behavior, but he dared not involve them, fearing the curse might spread. In a final, desperate attempt, John sought out an old professor rumored to dabble in the occult. The professor confirmed his worst fears. The book was a powerful artifact, bound to its reader until the final curse, which promised a fate worse than death. To break the cycle, John had to endure the terror without giving in to despair or insanity. Armed with this grim knowledge, John returned to his apartment, determined to face the horrors head-on. As he fought against the escalating supernatural events, the book's grip tightened. The shadowy figure became more tangible, the nightmares more vivid. But through sheer willpower, he resisted, refusing to succumb to madness. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the malevolent forces weakened. The book's dark power began to wane, its pages crumbling to dust. With a final, desperate effort, John tore the book apart, casting its remnants into the wind. The shadow vanished, the chill lifted, and the oppressive atmosphere dissipated. John emerged from the ordeal forever changed. The experience left scars, but also a profound understanding of the darkness hidden within seemingly innocuous objects. The abandoned library remained, its secrets untouched, a silent testament to the horrors he had faced. The abandoned hospital. A professional photographer decides to document an old, abandoned hospital. The hospital has been left untouched for years. As he begins to take photos, he starts hearing strange noises. He sees apparitions of former patients who were once confined within its walls. The photographer uncovers the dark history of the hospital. It was used for illegal medical experiments. The tortured souls of the victims still linger, trapped in eternal suffering. The video builds a sense of dread and unease. Each scene reveals more about the hospital's sinister past. Dark, foreboding lighting is used throughout. Consistent, high-resolution 4K visuals create an immersive atmosphere. The horror of the place is conveyed through the visuals. The torment of the spirits trapped within is palpable. The photographer's fear grows as he uncovers more secrets. The story concludes with the photographer fleeing the hospital, haunted by what he has discovered. The haunted doll. A family moves into a new home, excited to start fresh. While exploring the attic, they discover an old, dusty doll. The doll has an unsettling appearance, with cracked porcelain skin and lifeless eyes. As night falls, the family hears strange noises coming from the attic. They dismiss it as the house settling, but the noises grow louder and more frequent. One night, the youngest child sees the doll move on its own. Terrified, the child tells the parents, but they don't believe it at first. Unsettling events start occurring throughout the house. Doors slam shut, lights flicker, and whispers echo in the halls. The family decides to investigate the doll's origins. They discover that the doll once belonged to a young girl who died under mysterious circumstances. The girl's spirit now inhabits the doll, driven by a thirst for revenge. The family tries to get rid of the doll, but it always finds its way back. Tension builds as the doll's actions become more malevolent. In a final confrontation, the family faces the doll and the spirit within. They manage to break the curse, freeing the spirit and restoring peace to their home.